Hi there, I'm Clary Fairy and I wanted to talk tonight about ego and what ego is. This came up tonight because a friend of mine had put up a post on her Facebook, and it was someone had made a comment about needing to destroy the ego, and she'd put a comment up saying, no, I have an ego and I think it's when it's healthy, I think it's a good thing to have. You shouldn't be destroying your ego. And I completely agree. I don't believe that our egos are something that we need to destroy. I think maybe our egos have been sort of misrepresented in some ways and people feel that they can just get rid of them. But they can't be destroyed. And they can't be destroyed because they're an intrinsic part of us as ourselves in our human experience when we need them to be able to function. But I understand also why people would want to destroy an ego, because what our ego is and what it does is basically when we tell ourselves beliefs about who we are, say in our younger years as we've gone through life, we've told ourselves we're only capable of this much, or we're only worth this much, or we can only do this much. And we store those beliefs in ourselves about what we can do and how far we can go. Our ego comes into effect when we start to get to those limits in ourselves, and when we come up against those limits, the ego sort of comes in and reminds us and says to us, you know, here, you've only told me that we can go this far, so you can't go any further than this because this is the belief that you've set. And if you try to push past that point, the ego starts to get, you know, quite upset. And it can start causing you to kind of get all shaky or get all sweaty, and it'll start pumping chemicals through your body and causing you to have this sort of fight or flight experience. It'll basically, and if you still keep on pushing, it'll sort of blow up your party, piss all over your parade and blame you and your mother. And the ego is it turns into this monster, it turns into this sort of dragon part of yourself that comes out quite unexpectedly when you're pushed up against those limits. So I could see how when you want to really do something, or you really wish to have something, but you have a belief in yourself about how far you can go, when you set out on that journey to achieve that and you get to the point of your belief and the ego kicks in and starts causing all these problems for you, you can see why you would want to destroy it. However, the ego is a protective mechanism, and it's there to protect you through your experiences, the things that you've learned through your experiences. But it also has this amazing ability as well to sort of, you can work with it. It's sort of like your best friend. Like if you sort of have this limit and you want to get past the limit, you basically have to sort of learn how to believe in yourself more than what you have been believing in yourself. So it's sort of like yourself is like the core, and the ego is like the protective barrier, say. So if in yourself you say, I can only be this big, and you get to that big, your ego will kick in. But if you start to believe in yourself that actually you can see further than that, you can see yourself this, and you believe that you can have this, and your ego starts to sort of kick in and say, oh, but you can't do this, oh, but you can't do that. And you can take the time to sort of nurture the ego. In other words, sort of understand, say like, I'm trying to think how to describe this well. Understanding where you place that limit and why you place it. Say that you did something maybe as a child, you believed something as a child when you were 5, and this is what your ego's basing this on, this experience that you had when you were 5 or when you were 15, and this happened, so it's likely to happen again. If you can convince yourself and convince the ego that you can see further than that, and you can encourage the ego to also see further than that, and also to see that it's safe and that you're okay and that you can do this, the ego will sort of calm itself down, and it sort of lets the limit be sort of extended so you can gently push past the limit, and it will allow you to move through that space more calmly and without sort of causing any kind of problems in your life. The problems really arise when you try to repress the ego, or you try to ignore it, or you try to, when it jumps in and says, oh, you can only go this far, and you're just like, I'm going to do it anyway, I'm going to do it anyway. That's when it's sort of the problems start to come up. When it's pushed away or ignored, then it becomes, like a major dragon sort of thing. And that's why, like, people, they maybe have these limits in their relationships or otherwise, and then when something happens in their life that has tested their limit, that they'll turn from being a really nice person into a complete monster, and they'll start like wanting to maybe set fire to your house or slash your car or slap you into next week, and that's the ego at play. That's their limits in themselves have been pushed up against their ego, and they can't control it. The ego's taken over, and it's filled them full of this emotional rush, and they lose themselves in that moment. They lose the balance of themselves. So the ego is really something that we need to be able to befriend and respect and understand that it's there as a protective mechanism for ourself, for our core of self. It's there to protect ourselves, and that we need it in order to protect ourselves, so that we're not just running out there doing all this sort of crazy stuff without really thinking about it. The ego helps you to have the sort of the limit kind of in place. But obviously, knowing that we are multidimensional, unlimited beings in ourselves, when we believe that we can do things, that the ego steps aside and allows us to actually do that, or it extends the limits further and further, so that you can do all sorts of things before you might come up against a limit that is your ego. So it's funny talking about ego, because when I was younger, I always had this impression that, and I sort of got this impression from the people around me, whenever I said anything that was positive about myself, or whenever I said anything that was sort of, praising myself for something that I was doing, people around me would say, oh, that's your ego. And I used to always think that the ego was the part of me that thought I was really good. So I always sort of humbled myself and would talk myself down and limit myself even more so, thinking that if I was to tell people I was great, then that would be my ego at play. But really it was the sort of opposite. It was actually the opposite effect. I remember when I was having coaching last year, and when I was speaking to my coach, she was saying things to me, and I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's, no, and I can't do it because of this, and I can't do it because of him, and I can't do it because of her, or because this happened, and blah, blah. And she would say to me, that's your ego, Claire, that's your ego. And I'd be like, no, that can't be my ego, because it's not saying anything nice about me. That's saying something bad about me. So it's negative, And she'd be like, no, it's the ego coming up against a limit in yourself that you've placed. You've said, I can't do this because of that. So the ego says, okay, sir. And it does what it is that you want it to do. So you decide the belief. You decide where it is that you can go. And the ego has your back completely. And if you want to change that, then it's a case of changing what it is that you believe about yourself. And your ego will allow you gently to do that, whilst also still being there to protect you should something come up that is sort of, an experience that was to come up where maybe you were going to be hurt or something was going to happen. The ego would then come into play and the fight or flight response would kick in. So I just wanted to speak tonight about the ego and sort of clear up the fact that we are not here to destroy our egos. We're not here to try to kill them or get rid of them or anything. We need them. We actually need them for our protection and also for our boundaries of self, so that we can move through life and our journey and have this sort of protective mechanism there as our best friend to guide us and keep us right while we're on our journey. So yeah, all hail the ego. It's actually a really good thing. A healthy ego anyway is a good thing. It only really becomes a problem when it's sabotaging, when you can't actually do what it is that you wish to do, because your limits and your beliefs are so low. They're so low in yourself, which is a case of really believing in yourself more. It's not so much killing the ego, but it's having your ego trust that you trust yourself and you trust where it is that you're going. And yeah, so I hope that this helps clear up the ego issue. And yeah, befriend your ego. Okay, thanks very much for listening and take care. Have a great evening. Bye bye.